We're going to move on to topic number 5 now. We're going to head over to the golf course. And, of course, coming up this week on Friday, actually, is the Ryder Cup. Right now, the Ryder Cup pressure that's on the U.S. team is immense. The U.S. has not won a Ryder Cup. 7 of the last 9 Ryder Cups have gone to the European team. A lot of pressure on this U.S. team. Of course, the Ryder Cup this year is at Whistling Straits. You know, the U.S. team has a bunch of young guys. What do you think about the U.S. team and their being the favorite this week at the Ryder Cup?
I don't think I can consider them the favorite, considering what's happened over the last decade in the Ryder Cup, and specifically the last 2 Ryder Cups where the Europeans have actually just taken us to the woodshed. And I mean, especially in singles, it just feels like they just dominated us on both Sundays in singles, the last 2 Ryder Cups. And I think obviously that's huge because, through the first couple of days where you're playing maybe, best ball or mixed ball, you can still, give up some points. But come Sunday, when the single matches come, if you go on a run and win the majority of the single matches, you generally go on to win the Ryder Cup. And that's exactly what the Europeans have done over the last few years, is just dominate us in singles. So I can't really consider the United States a favorite until they come out and win. And then I think this is considered a must win if I'm the United States Ryder Cup team after the history that we've had, and then being it on home turf as well. You obviously want to get the win and have a good showing. So I think it's a lot of pressure on a lot of these young golfers. And like you brought it up, where we don't have some of these key guys to lean on, obviously like a Tiger Woods or even like maybe, a Phil Mickelson that, might be there, but is, obviously at the tail end of his, well, I can't even say the tail end of his career in golf. You can play until you're like 100, right? But I'm just saying, compared to some of these European golfers that have just been so hot in the Ryder Cup, it's just been, they're coming in with confidence. They're coming in with a ton of confidence, even though they're playing at Whistling Straits. It's a course that all of them are familiar with, playing on the PGA Tour. The Whistling Straits has also been a major on the PGA Tour, I believe, a few times over these last few years. So it's a course that everybody's familiar with, a course that I know I'm excited to watch and play, because watch and see them play, because it is such a challenging course, especially one where if you cannot be accurate off the tee and you end up in the rough, it will make you pay. And I think all these tough courses here in the majors over these last few years have been like that, where if you put it in the rough, they really make you pay. You're automatically pretty much going to lose a stroke or 2 on that hole. So it comes down to basically being accurate off the tee, then hitting a great approach shot, and then having the putting game to basically finish it all off. So a lot of pressure on this young United States team, but I'm looking for guys like Brooks Koepka to really step up and lead this team and put a mark on the game. I think that's the guy that I'm really going with this week, and I really want to see him do well this week. So I'm rooting for him. And then obviously, his arch nemesis, Bryson DeChambeau, I think is another guy that we're going to have to see play really well to have the Ryder Cup come back to the United States. But just quickly, and a little side note with Brooks Koepka, just this week, because, there's obviously been a lot of talk with the NFL and the new taunting rule, which I personally think is BS and hogwash. We could talk about that at a different subject. But Brooks Koepka came out and said that, he said flat out, I wish there was trash talk in golf. He said if there was trash talking allowed in golf, he would do it 24/7, nonstop. And I think, like I said, if we mic these guys up, it would just make golf that much more entertaining, and it would bring more eyes to golf and certainly more money. So I think that would be cool. But going back to the Ryder Cup, a lot of pressure on this young United States team, but I'm really looking forward to them maybe getting out of this hole that the United States has been in the Ryder Cup. So I'm clearly rooting for the home team, and I want to see them bring it home.
Yeah, I think this is the time for this group of Ryder Cup players for the U.S. to really step up and take the bull by the horns with the Ryder Cup, because, like you said, in the past, Tiger's still been there, Phil Mickelson, and then some of the guys in their 30s and maybe late 30s on the PGA Tour were really the ones that were leading, and then it was kind of the younger guys, like Jordan Spieth of the world, that were sort of just considered the younger generation. They don't have a lot of Ryder Cup experience type of stuff. Now it's them. Now it's Spieth. You mentioned Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Bryson DeChambeau, Colin Morikawa. Guys like that are the ones that need to take over the Ryder Cup for the U.S. this week. They need to be the ones that want to, strangle, not literally, but obviously strangle, the European players right now. Because the European team has Rory Mcilroy, who's played in a ton of Ryder Cups, John Rahm. They're a little bit older than the younger U.S. guys, and they have a ton of major experience. They've won a couple of majors. They have Ryder Cup experience. When you play over in Europe, you try not to hit it in the rough too, because they have courses like that, just like we do here, although theirs are more kind of link style, but they've played in a million different courses like this too. So, I think it's going to be important for those young guys who are now in their mid to late 20s. They're in the prime of their golfing careers, or actually early 30s is probably the prime of your career. Those guys need to be the ones that now need to make their mark in the Ryder Cup. They've all won majors. They've all won big tournaments. Now it's time to make a big-time impression at the Ryder Cup. That's sort of like one of the kind of notches in your belt as a professional golfer. How do you do in these team international plays, both the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup? So I think, for Thomas, for Spieth, Morikawa, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, the time is now for these guys to put a stranglehold on the Ryder Cup and really take it home for the U.S. It's on U.S. soil. It's been too long since this is kind of tailor-made for these kind of guys. DeChambeau might hit it all over the yard, so he could be a problem. But because he tries to hit the ball like he's got a sledgehammer in his hands. But everybody else can hit a consistent, accurate drive. And then the short games of Thomas, Koepka, Spieth. I mean, when Spieth's cooking, he's hitting every single friggin' putt, especially if it's 10 feet or in. So, those guys have to be able to control the Ryder Cup this year. It's their time. If they don't win it this year, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a problem. And now the U.S. has to kind of figure out what are we going to do now, because all their top players are there and they're in their 20s and they should be winning this tournament this week. So it's going to be interesting.
I keep saying it's a must-win. I think it's a must-win for the United States team to get us off the shelf and back in the winning mode going forward for these guys, like you said, because it will carry over to even the next Ryder Cup. The confidence that they can gain here if they can win this one. The Ryder Cup is a big deal for you viewers out there that you might not know it and you might not think it is, but the Ryder Cup is a big deal for the whole European team and for the United States team and for the whole world of golf. So we're really looking to see the Ryder Cup come back to the United States soil. These young guns are going to have to step up, like I said, especially in singles play on Sunday. That is going to be huge. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Brooks Koepka step up and two other guys that you brought up, Colin Morikawa, who I'm quickly becoming a huge fan of. I would love to see him have a great Ryder Cup and step up and maybe go undefeated in the Ryder Cup, which is huge. That puts out a big impression when you can do that. We've seen other young golfers in the past go undefeated through their weekend in the Ryder Cup, and that has a good showing for them throughout their season as a player because they just get into a great rhythm. And then another guy that you brought up is Jordan Spieth. I would love to see Jordan Spieth have a great Ryder's Cup. And I guess what? Jordan Spieth is an easy guy to root for, honestly. He's an easy guy to like, an easy guy to root for, and definitely one of my favorite players on the United States team.
Yeah, no question. Always has been an easy guy to root for. And again, this is, it's an individual sport, but this is kind of the one time a year where there's a team aspect to it, which I think is why a lot of people who play golf love the Ryder Cup when it happens every couple of years. So that's another aspect that everybody wants to check out. Folks, if you like this show, you're watching it right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. That's Comeback Sports on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Comeback Sports. And then all the cut-ups that our awesome producer, Ben Kudo, puts together after the show, that'll all filter to your YouTube channel. You don't have to go search for it. It's just right there in your subscriptions.